Today I'm gonna tell you a story about a conversation that I had recently. Someone I went to middle school and high school with, known her for a long time, seems like a good person, smart, did everything right in school, the kind of person the system loves and rewards. I posted the polar coordinate calculations for Boston and Johannesburg. Standard math, 111 kilometers per degree, applied directly to the latitude data. Observable measurements that anybody can verify. She didn't look at the math, she looked at me and said the best way to describe me is Dunning Kruger effect. No counter calculation, no mathematical refutation, just a label. And I want to sit with that for a second because that moment tells you everything about what's really going on. Not just in that conversation, but in every conversation like it. This is important. That's why I'm making a presentation about it. And here's what I think is actually happening. Most people have never audited what they believe. They didn't build their model of reality from primary source data. They inherited it. They were handed a globe in elementary school, told this is the earth, and every institution they encountered for the next 20 plus years confirmed it. Their teachers, their textbooks, the media, the curriculum. And for a lot of people, especially the ones who were good at school, the ones who memorized the right answers and got rewarded for it, that inherited model became part of their identity, even if it's just a small part. So when someone comes along with math that doesn't fit the model, it doesn't feel like a scientific challenge. It feels like a personal attack. So she felt personally attacked. And this is where the cardboard lion comes in. From a distance, institutional consensus looks like a real lion. Terrifying, unassailable, the expert standing between you and the unknown. People feel safe because they believe this lion is protecting them, but they've never walked up and touched it. They've never opened the textbook to the original source, never pulled the raw data, never asked, wait, how do we actually know this? They just see the silhouette and they trust it. And when you walk up and show them, hey, it's cardboard, and it's held up by a kickstand, the response isn't curiosity. The response is to call you someone that suffers from the Dunning Kruger effect. So back to the conversation. I asked her for one thing, one piece of exclusive evidence, something that proves the globe model to the exclusion of all alternatives. One calculation, one observation, one data point that can't also be explained by a different framework. Of course she couldn't do it. You can't do that. Nobody can. And by the end of the conversation, she said something that I have to give her credit for, because it was the most honest thing she said in the entire exchange. She said she doesn't need to understand any of this. She doesn't need to understand it herself, because she'll trust her friend's brain 10,000 times over before trusting mine. And of course her friend was the valedictorian of our school. She opened the conversation accusing me of Dunning-Kruger, overconfidence without expertise. And she closed it by admitting she has no expertise in the subject and is fully certain that I'm wrong because of someone else's credentials. She didn't point a finger at me. She held up a mirror. She exhibited the Dunning-Kruger effect. It's ironic. The irony is just crazy. And this is the chain of trust in real time. She trusts her friend. Her friend trusted a professor. The professor trusted the textbook. The textbook was written by a committee. Nobody in that chain stopped and reverse engineered the axioms. Nobody pulled the IGRF database and ran the magnetic mirror ratios. Nobody asked the most basic scientific question. Can this model be falsified? They just passed the globe down the line. And when someone breaks the chain, when someone shows up with math and real observations that counter their worldview, instead of memorization, the chain defends itself, not with data, but with labels, ad hominem attacks. And the irony that the watching world needs to see is Dunning Kruger describes someone with low expertise who doesn't know it. So they're overconfident. On one side of this conversation, someone who openly admits they don't understand the physics, won't engage the calculations, and is 100% certain I'm wrong because a credentialed friend said so. On the other side, someone who pulled the data directly from the IGRF database, which measures the strength of the magnetic field across the world, ran the polar coordinate math, co-authored a physics paper on the magnetic field anomalies, and is asking for falsification, not confirmation. Which one of those fits the definition? The accusation was a confession. And I have to be clear, I'm not saying this to embarrass anyone. That's why I kept the names out of it. I genuinely have no issue with this person. We went to school together. I forgive her, truly. I said that directly in the conversation. But the pattern is worth examining because it's not unique to her. It's in a ton of comments in the comment section. Every debate, pretty much. Every time someone reaches for a credential instead of a calculation. The cardboard lion is still standing. A lot of people are still thinking that it's going to defend them. They think they're protected. But the math doesn't care about credentials. It doesn't care about honor rolls or valedictorians or who your friend is. The math just sits there, patient, waiting for someone to look at it. And if your best answer is, I'll trust someone smarter than me, then you're not defending science. You're defending a feeling. Dusty Truth signing out.